Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, dies at 68 after battle with metastatic cancer. Scott Adams, the influential cartoonist and author, best known for creating the long-running comic strip Dilbert, has died at the age of 68 following a prolonged battle with metastatic prostate cancer. His death was confirmed Tuesday by members of the Scott Adams School, an online community previously known as Coffee with Scott Adams, where Adams regularly shared commentary, videos, and discussions on culture, persuasion, and politics. Adams' passing marks the end of one of the most consequential and controversial careers in modern American cartooning. For more than 3 decades, Dilbert served as both satire and social commentary, skewering corporate bureaucracy, managerial absurdity, and office politics with a tone that resonated deeply with white-collar workers around the world. Yet Adams' legacy extends far beyond the cubicle humor that made him famous. In later years, he became a prominent political commentator, podcaster, and author whose outspoken views sparked intense debate, professional consequences, and cultural division. Scott Raymond Adams was born in 1957 in Windham, New York, a small town far removed from the corporate landscapes that would later define his work. From an early age, Adams displayed an affinity for drawing and storytelling. By the time he was 6 years old, he was already sketching cartoons, inspired in part by Charles Schulz's Peanuts, which he later cited as a formative influence. Though his artistic interests were evident, Adams initially pursued a more conventional academic and professional path. He attended Hartwick College, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Economics in 1979. That same year, he relocated to California, a move that would shape the trajectory of his life and career. Upon arriving in California, Adams entered the corporate workforce, taking a series of office jobs that would eventually become the raw material for Dilbert. Between 1979 and 1986, he worked at Crocker National Bank, holding a range of positions including computer programmer, budget analyst, and bank teller. These roles gave Adams a first-hand look at the inefficiencies, contradictions, and quiet frustrations of office life. Long before Dilbert became a cultural staple, Adams was observing the everyday dynamics of bureaucracy, from confusing management decisions to the disconnect between executives and employees. In 1986, Adams earned an MBA from the University of California, Berkeley, further deepening his understanding of business systems and organizational behavior. He then joined Pacific Bell, where his experiences would directly inspire the creation of Dilbert. According to Adams, even the comic's name came from a suggestion by a supervisor. While working full-time at Pacific Bell, Adams began developing a comic strip centered on the absurdities of office culture. Unlike traditional workplace humor that relied on slapstick or caricature, Dilbert focused on systemic dysfunction, pointless meetings, incompetent leadership, meaningless jargon, and employees trapped in rigid hierarchies. The strip debuted through United Media, and Adams balanced his corporate job with cartooning for several years. Many of the characters readers would come to recognize were inspired by real coworkers and situations, though exaggerated for comedic effect. By 1994, Dilbert had achieved widespread success, appearing in more than 400 newspapers across the United States. A year later, Adams left Pacific Bell to become a full-time cartoonist. The mid-1990s marked the height of Dilbert's mainstream dominance. In 1996, Adams published The Dilbert Principle, a business satire that argued companies tend to promote their least competent employees into management roles. The book became a bestseller and cemented Adams' reputation as a sharp observer of corporate dysfunction. In 1997, Adams received the Reuben Award from the National Cartoonist Society, honoring him as Outstanding Cartoonist of the Year and recognizing Dilbert as the best newspaper comic strip. 2 years later, Dilbert was adapted into an animated television series that aired on UPN. Adams served as executive producer and showrunner. The series ran for 2 seasons and earned a Primetime Emmy nomination, expanding the franchise beyond print media. During this period, Dilbert was more than entertainment. It became a shared language for office workers, often taped to cubicle walls or forwarded in email chains as a form of quiet rebellion against corporate monotony. Adams' interests extended beyond humor and illustration. Over the years, he authored numerous books exploring psychology, persuasion, success, and belief systems. He frequently discussed what he called systems thinking, emphasizing processes over goals as a path to achievement. Among his lesser-known but notable works were books touching on theology and belief, including The Religion War, which examined ideological conflict and human cognition. These themes later became central to his online presence, particularly as he began hosting daily video streams and podcasts, where he analyzed media narratives, political messaging, and what he believed were patterns of mass persuasion. Around 2015, Adams' public persona underwent a significant shift. He began writing blog posts and producing video commentary focused on Donald Trump, framing Trump's political lies through the lens of persuasion techniques rather than traditional ideology. Adams argued that Trump's communication style, regardless of factual accuracy, was uniquely effective at influencing public opinion. His commentary attracted a new audience, while alienating others, transforming Adams from a widely syndicated cartoonist into a polarizing media figure. His daily video podcast featured a range of conservative guests and topics, often critiquing mainstream media narratives. Over time, Adams' political commentary increasingly overshadowed his earlier reputation as a workplace satirist. In February 2023, Adams became the center of national controversy, following remarks made during a live episode of his Real Coffee with Scott Adams stream.
In that broadcast, Adams referred to Black people as a hate group, comments that were widely condemned across political and cultural lines. In response, numerous newspapers across the United States dropped Dilbert from syndication, effectively ending its decades-long presence in mainstream print media. The decision marked a turning point in Adams' career. While he defended his remarks and critiqued the reaction as politically motivated, many publishers citing ethical standards and audience concerns in their decision to sever ties. Following the loss of newspaper syndication, Adams relaunched the comic under a new title, Dilbert Reborn, in March 2023. The project was hosted on Locals, a subscription-based platform that allowed Adams to publish directly to supporters without editorial oversight. This move reflected a broader trend among controversial media figures shifting toward audience-funded platforms after losing access to traditional distribution channels. In May, Adams publicly revealed that he had been diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer, announcing the news on the same day former President Joe Biden disclosed his own aggressive prostate cancer diagnosis. During a candid broadcast, Adams stated that his cancer had spread to his bones and that his prognosis was terminal. He spoke openly about his condition, acknowledging that his health would only decline. Despite political differences, Adams expressed sympathy for Biden and his family, calling prostate cancer a terrible disease and offering compassion for anyone facing it.
Adams told viewers he expected to die within the summer, framing his remaining time as a period of reflection rather than false optimism. Adams married Shelley Miles in 2006 and became stepfather to her 2 children, Savannah and Justin. The marriage ended in divorce in 2014, though Adams later said the two remained on friendly terms. Tragedy struck the family in 2018 when Justin died from a fentanyl overdose, a loss Adams described as devastating. In December 2019, Adams announced his engagement to Christina Basham. The couple married in July 2020, but divorced in March 2022. Scott Adams leaves behind a complex and deeply divided legacy. To supporters, he was a fearless commentator and a master satirist who exposed the absurdities of modern work life. To critics, his later years were defined by rhetoric that crossed ethical lines and caused tangible harm. Regardless of perspective, Adams' impact on American culture is undeniable. Dilbert reshaped workplace humor, influenced business discourse, and captured the frustrations of an entire generation navigating corporate systems. His career serves as both a case study in creative success and a cautionary tale about the power and consequences of public speech in the digital age.